Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills housing update. So I have March year-over-year numbers to report today and they are nuts. And also last week was really busy again, inventory's down, so lots going on in the market to sort of assess. So now looking at our March numbers. So in March of 2020 is when all of this COVID stuff started, but going into COVID, we were in a really strong market. Our March numbers last year were really good. And the last week of March is really when we started to see the market tail off a bit. We were still pretty strong even a week or two after they announced the lockdown. So last year's March numbers were pretty good. This year's March numbers are just out of control, no surprise. So in March of 2020, we sold 91 units, which is normal-ish, like anywhere between 90 and 130 would be what we'd be seeing. In 2021, we sold 171 units. That is up 88% year over year. I mean, no huge surprise, and we did see such a huge influx of inventory in the back half of the month, but up 88% is crazy. Like 171, even in a busy April or May, would be a huge number for a month to transact in Halton Hills. Now looking at our average price, we knew with the amount of properties selling over that million mark, it was gonna pull our average price up, but it is up a lot. So in March of 2020, our average price was $834,000. And in March of 2021, our average price is $1.132 million. That is up over 35% year over year. Two other numbers to note is days on market. So in March of 2020, we were looking at 12 days on market on average. This year, it was 7 days on market on average. A lot of them were even less. So that means basically if you don't sell your house in your first week, it's overpriced because everything is moving. Another thing is our average list to sale price ratio was 111%. So on average, properties were getting 11% more than they listed for. So all these numbers are, again, not surprising because we're watching it, but like, just huge jumps year over year. I know April's gonna be insane because last April was like dead, but last March we were fairly busy. So to see such huge increases is still surprising. So now looking at what happened last week, I had said last week we were kind of in a shift. We were seeing tons of inventory flood the market. Well, people are buying the stuff up. So our numbers are back down this week, which is not great. So in Georgetown this week, we had 28 sales, which is a big-ish number. 23 of them sold over asking, so still tons and tons of bidding wars. There were only 23 new listings last week, so this was the first week in a while that we didn't have a ton of listings hitting the market, so inventory is going to be down. But I still think that tons of people are getting their house ready and we are gonna see a lot of new listings in April. In Acton, we had 5 sales, all of them over asking, and only 3 new properties. So again, inventory's down in Acton too. In Glen Williams, there was 1 property that sold and no new listings. Limehouse had no sales last week, but 2 new listings. There's seriously so much inventory in Limehouse. I don't know, like there's nothing going on there. It's just, I think the rural people are cashing out, but like, yeah, 2 new listings in Limehouse. A lot of stuff going on in Limehouse. In the rural market, we had 2 sales, which is a normal week for rural. I'm surprised it's not a bit higher. I think next week we'll have another high week because there's some good stuff available right now. We did have 4 new properties enter the rural market, so inventory's up there. Something to note, I was looking through the sales for last week. My son broke my glasses, so I apologize if I keep touching that. Something I was noticing, and it supports our Exodus theory, is there was 36 properties that sold in all of Halton Hills last week. And we have a pretty tight-knit real estate community. I mean, all the agents know each other here. And of the 36 properties, only 4 local agents represented buyers of those properties. So lots of local agents listing properties, but the interesting thing is the people that are paying the big money and winning these bidding wars are coming from other markets. It's not local agents that have clients paying crazy prices. So yeah, of the 36, only 4 local agents representing buyers. This is supporting the exodus theory that people are coming from other markets and they're bringing their agents with them. So now looking at active inventory, we are down slightly to 81 active listings, which is still like way up from our 40 or 50 that we were sitting at. So it's down, but still 81, we'll take it. 2 are in the sold conditional status, which is the same as last week. In Georgetown, inventory is down from 49 to 43 active listings. So still super low, but again, we were down to like 15 or 12 active listings in Georgetown. It was crazy. So we are down to 43 active listings this week. Looking at our price points, under 700,000, we are up to 4 active listings, which is great. Most condo products, but it's still good that there's some options under 700,000 because that price point, there's just been nothing. Between 7 and 800,000 is down this week to 7 active listings from 9. Still a good amount to choose from, but all of those are pretty much getting like 850 to 950. 800 to $1 million. We had a ton of inventory come up in the last 2 weeks in that price point. So lots of it has gotten eaten up and we are down to 14 active listings in that price point. We were at 17 last week. So inventory down there and that price point is just wild. And another place we are down is our $1 million+ listings. Last week we were at 20, which was like super exciting. This week we're down to 18. And again, this price point moves like crazy. It was really promising that we were at 20, but anything that's coming up that's good is getting bought. And so we just need more listings entering the market. In Acton this week, we are down to 9 active listings, 2 low in Acton. Almost all of those except for 1 are under $1 million. So at least stuff for the buyers there. But we're seeing a lot of properties that list under $1 million go over $1 million in Acton, which is definitely a shift. Like having $1 million+ properties in a subdivision in Acton was unheard of before this year. So that's good news for the sellers there. Glen Williams is still sitting at only 1 active listing. It's over $3 million. So we need more properties in the Glen. Limehouse is up to 7 active listings, which is a crazy amount for Limehouse. I mean, you drive through there and there's for sale and sold signs everywhere. There's not like this big secret conspiracy going on there and like people are leaving. It's just, I think those people are capitalizing on the markets because Limehouse has properties just like the rural market that would normally take way longer to sell than it's currently taking. And then in the rural market, we are up to 21 active listings. Good thing is we have 4 of them under $1 million. Very rare for us to have rural under $1 million. So there's 4 properties under $1 million, which are likely going to be gone next week, but it's still some options for people that want the lower price point rural. So no huge surprise that our March numbers are completely out of control. I mean, we felt it. It's just always interesting when you look year over year. And knowing that last March was still super busy despite the start of COVID, I mean, I know April numbers are going to be crazy. I think last year in April, we sold like 30 or 35 properties, which like just shows you a comparison. Like the March was 91 and then we just dropped right off in April. So April numbers, I know year over year are going to be crazy. I can't believe how much the units are up. I mean, the price, we've been sitting consistently between 30 and 35% up on price, but our units at 88% is like crazy. I thought we were feeling a shift. I still think going into April, we are going to see some changes. I think that more properties are on the market. People are going to start to change their pricing and listing strategies. For now, we're still definitely in bidding war territory, but people have a few options. And so that has impacted some of the listings for sure when I'm talking to agents about what's happening with their listings. So come back next week. Let's see. The first week of April was strong in terms of sales, but I do anticipate after this Easter weekend, we are going to see a lot of new listings hitting the market. So I'll be back next Tuesday. Have a great week, everyone. Stay safe with these COVID numbers rising. And as we know, COVID isn't really impacting the real estate market. So I still think we're in for a really strong few months here. Have a great week, everyone.